There is a moment. A quiet, almost invisible turning point in your life. That doesn't look dramatic from the outside. But inside you, everything changes. No fireworks. No applause. No one even notices. But you feel it. It's the moment you get tired. Tired of explaining yourself. Tired of proving your worth. Tired of adjusting who you are just to be accepted. And in that moment, something shifts. You stop chasing approval. And that is the day your life finally begins. For most of your life, you were taught something without even realizing it. You were taught that your value depends on how others see you. When you were a child, you looked for approval in your parents' eyes. When you went to school, you looked for validation from teachers. When you grew up, you started chasing it from friends, society, and strangers. You learned to measure yourself based on reactions. A smile meant you were doing well. A frown meant you needed to change. Silence meant something was wrong with you. So you adapted. You became who people wanted you to be. You smiled when you didn't feel like smiling. You agreed when you didn't agree. You stayed quiet when your truth was begging to be heard. Not because you were weak, but because you wanted to belong. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to belong. But there is something dangerous about losing yourself in the process. Because slowly, without even noticing, you stopped asking yourself what you want. You started asking, what will they think? Will they like this? Will they accept me if I do this? And just like that, your life became a performance. Think about how exhausting that is. Every decision filtered through other people's opinions. Every action measured against someone else's expectations. You're not living anymore. You're managing impressions. And here's the truth that changes everything. No matter how perfect you try to be, you will never be enough for everyone. You can be kind, someone will call you weak. You can be confident, someone will call you arrogant. You can be quiet, someone will say you're boring. You can be loud, someone will say you're too much. So if you're going to be judged anyway, why not just be yourself? But that realization doesn't come easily. Sometimes, life forces it on you. Through rejection. Through failure. Through heartbreak. You try so hard to gain someone's approval. And they still walk away. You give everything. And it's still not enough. And in that painful moment, you realize something powerful. You were never meant to live your life for other people's validation. And that's where your transformation begins. The day you stop chasing approval. You begin to reclaim your identity. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for validation. You stop needing someone to tell you that you're allowed to dream bigger, speak louder, or live differently. You just decide. And that decision is powerful. Because for the first time, your choices come from within. Not from fear. Not from pressure. Not from expectation. But from truth. Now let's be real. This is not easy. Because when you stop chasing approval, you feel exposed. You feel like you're standing alone. No safety net. No constant reassurance. Just you, and your decisions. And that can feel terrifying. But here's what most people don't understand. That fear is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're finally doing something real. Because for the first time in your life, you are not hiding. You are not performing. You are not pretending. You are simply being. And yes, not everyone will like it. Some people will feel uncomfortable around the real you. Because they were used to the version of you that was easy to control. Easy to predict. Easy to please. But the real you? The real you has boundaries. The real you has opinions. The real you has standards. And when you start living like that, some people will leave. Let them. Because those people were not connected to who you are. They were connected to who you pretended to be. And losing that version of yourself is not a loss. It's a liberation. You see, when you stop chasing approval, you create space. Space for authenticity. Space for growth. Space for peace. And in that space, you start discovering who you really are. Not who you were told to be. Not who you tried to become for others. But who you were always meant to be. You remember your voice. The one you silenced. The one you doubted. The one you ignored. And you start using it again. You say what you believe. Even if your voice shakes. Even if your hands tremble. Even if people don't agree. Because now you understand something most people never do. Your voice is not meant to be approved. It's meant to be expressed. And that changes everything. You start making different choices. You choose paths that align with your values, not with people's expectations. You choose growth over comfort. You choose truth over approval. And slowly, your confidence begins to grow. Not the loud, external kind. But the quiet, unshakable kind. The kind that says, I know who I am, and that's enough. And let me tell you something important. That kind of confidence is rare. Because most people are still chasing approval. Still waiting for someone to validate them. Still afraid to be fully seen. But you're different now. You've stepped out of that cycle. And here's what happens next. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting the right people. Not the ones who want you to fit in. But the ones who respect you for standing out. Because authenticity is magnetic. People can feel it. They can feel when you're real. They can feel when you're not trying to impress anyone. And that energy? It's powerful. But let's not pretend this journey is perfect. There will still be moments of doubt. Moments when you question yourself. Moments when you feel the urge to go back to your old ways. To please. To impress. To fit in. But in those moments, remember why you started. Remember how exhausting it felt to constantly seek approval. Remember how it felt to lose yourself. And remind yourself, you didn't come this far to go back to who you used to be. Because now, you're building something real. A real identity. A real life. A real sense of self-worth. And that kind of life is not built on approval. It's built on self-respect. So stop asking, do they like me? Start asking, do I like who I am becoming? Because that's the only question that truly matters. The day you stop chasing approval, you stop living for applause. And you start living for purpose. You stop trying to fit into places where you don't belong. And you start creating spaces where you do. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And you start expanding into your full potential. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. Growth always does. But on the other side of that discomfort is freedom. Real freedom. The freedom to be yourself without apology. The freedom to live your life without constant fear of judgment. The freedom to wake up every day knowing that you are not pretending anymore. And that is what it means to truly live. So if you're at that point right now, if you're tired of chasing approval, if you're ready to take your life back, then this is your moment. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. Decide. Decide that you are done living for other people's opinions. Decide that you are done shrinking yourself. Decide that you are done waiting for validation. Because you don't need it. You never did. All you ever needed was the courage to choose yourself. And the moment you do that, everything changes. Because the day you stop chasing approval is the day you finally start living. Not the life they expect. Not the life they approve. But the life that is truly yours. And that life? It's waiting for you. Right now. So step into it. Own it. Live it. Because your life doesn't begin when people accept you. It begins when you accept yourself. And that is where everything changes.